Today we are going to discuss the Ferguson coat of arms. But before we get started, we wanted to let you know that we offer genealogy research service at our website. Please visit us at coadb.com. First coat of arms to discuss is blazoned: Azure, a buckle argent between three boars' heads couped or; Crest, a thistle proper with a B, a lighting thereon. And this belonged to the Ferguson family of Londonderry in Northern Ireland. The Ferguson Baronetage of Londonderry was a title created in the Baronetage of Ireland in the year 1801 for Sir Andrew Ferguson, a banker, high sheriff, and mayor of the city, member of Parliament, and the son of John Ferguson, who was the son of Reverend Andrew Ferguson, who was the son of Reverend Andrew Ferguson of Burt House, who was born in 1655. Here we see one of the family estates known as the farm. Here we have Ferguson of Burt House. Andrew Ferguson of Burt House, we'd mentioned this family before, had nephew John McGuinness, Esquire, who assumed his surname by royal license in 1843, becoming John Ferguson Esquire. And here we see the family estate of Burt House in the modern day. Azure on a chevron between three boars' heads couped or; a buckle gules between two stars of the field; Crest, a palm tree proper. Born by one James Fergusson, a merchant of London, alive in the year 1785. Azure, a buckle argent between three boars' heads erased or; within a border of the second, charged with four crosses crosslet fitchy gules. Crest, an arm in armor, grasping a broken spear all proper. This belonged to the Ferguson family of London, England. William Fergusson, merchant in London, alive in the year 1761, son of George Ferguson of Kilmundy, who descended from one William Ferguson. Another Azure, a buckle argent between three boars' heads couped argent within a border embattled of the second. Crest, a dexter hand issuing from the cloud, grasping a broken spear in bend proper. For Ferguson of Kinmundy, there was William Ferguson Esquire, born 1823, a justice of the peace, a deputy lieutenant, and a captain, the son of James Fergusson, justice of the peace and deputy lieutenant, who was the son of James, who procured Kinmundy in the year 1724, who was in turn the son of Major General James Fergusson, who died in Holland in 1705, who was the son of William Ferguson of Badyfurrow. Here we see the family estate of Kinmundy. Argent, a lion rampant azure on a chief gules, a star between a crosslet fitchy and a rose of the field. Crest, a dexter hand grasping a broken spear, bend waist proper. Ferguson of Crederich in Dumfries, Scotland. They descended from one Joan Keen Ferguson, the first of Crederich, alive in the year 1398. He had grandson Thomas, who had son Matthew Ferguson, who died around the year 1484. Later there was John Ferguson, the 13th laird, a lieutenant colonel who died at the Battle of Killiecrankie in 1698. He had son Alexander Ferguson, seen here, born 1685, who became a member of Parliament. Here we see the family estate of Crederich House in the modern day, or Deroche House. Argent, a lion rampant azure on a chief engrailed gules, a mullet between two cinquefoils of the first. Crest, a dexter hand grasping a broken spear and bend all proper. For Ferguson of Spittal, Hague, or Haw in Peebleshire. This was a title created in 1866 for the Scottish surgeon Sir William Fergusson, seen here, who was son of James Fergusson of Lochmaben. And here we see the family estate of Spittalhaw or Spittalhague. Azure, a buckle argent between three boars' heads couped or; within a border of the second. Crest, a crescent or rising from a cloud proper. This was for the Ferguson family of Pit in Aberdeen, Scotland. James Fergusson of Badyfurrow, born 1672, was a lawyer who purchased the Pitfowler estate. He was the son of William, and he himself had son James Fergusson, seen here, born 1700, a Scottish advocate who was elevated to the bench as Lord Pitfor, and he had son James Fergusson, seen here, born 1735, also an advocate. Here we see the family estate of Pitfor. Gules, 3 boars' heads couped within a border argent. Crest out of clouds proper, a crescent issued argent. For Ferguson of King's Capel and Yatton Court in County Hertfordshire, there was Elizabeth Holcombe Ferguson, born 1792, wife of Captain George Ferguson of the Royal Navy, who was born in 1788. And here we see one of the estates of Yatton Court. Argent, a lion rampant, azure between 3 buckles, gules, a chief checky azure into the first, crest, a lion rampant, a demi-lion rampant proper, holding between the paws a buckle gules. For the Ferguson family of Wraith in County Fife, Scotland, they descended from Robert Ferguson, born 1690, the son of James Fergusson, who was Baillie of Inverkeithing. Later in this family came General Sir Roland Crawford Ferguson, born 1773, a member of Parliament, as well as Lieutenant Colonel Robert Monroe Ferguson of Wraith and Novar, born 1802, commander of the 79th. Adam Ferguson, born 1723, a Scottish philosopher and historian of the Scottish Enlightenment, who had son Sir Adam Ferguson, an army officer born in the year 1770. Here we see the family estate of Wraith House in Kirkcaldy. Another for Ferguson of Kilkelan in Ayrshire, Scotland. The Ferguson baronetcy of Kilkelan was a title created in the Baronetage of Nova Scotia in 1703 for Sir John Ferguson, a prominent advocate practicing in 1681 who purchased the Clanachan estate next to Kilkelan. He was the son of Simon, who was the son of Bernard, who was a descendant of Duncan Ferguson, who lived in the 15th century. There was also Sir James Fergusson, 2nd Baronet, who was granted in 1753 in recognition of his legal prowess as a judge, and was succeeded by his son, Sir Adam Ferguson, 3rd Baronet, born 1773. Here we see a list of the Ferguson baronets all the way through the 9th Baronet, who died in 2021. On the right, we see a photograph of Sir James Fergusson, the 6th Baronet, born in 1832. And it looks like another, didn't write his name down. And here we see the family estate of Kilkelan House. Azure, a chevron argent between 3 boars' heads couped, or a mullet of the first. For David Ferguson, Minner of Strict Martin, arms registered in the 1670s. Argent, a ship of war under sail proper, on a chief azure, 3 boars' heads couped argent, crest, a dexter hand, grasping a broadsword proper. For John Ferguson of Chigwell in County Essex, captain in the Royal Navy, had son John Ferguson, who became an admiral in the Royal Navy and died around the year 1818. Azure, a chevron argent between 3 boars' heads couped, or a buckle between 2 falcons of the first. Crest, a demi-lion rampant gules. For Ferguson of Kinmundy in Scotland, Walter Ferguson, a writer in Edinburgh, grandson of Walter Ferguson, who was the 6th son of William Ferguson of Badyfurrow, a member of Parliament in the year 1650. Here we have another for Ferguson of Carlile in County Cumberland, England. There was Richard Saul Ferguson, Esquire, seen here, born 1837, a Justice of the Peace, a Deputy Lieutenant, Chancellor of Carlisle, and the eldest son of Joseph Ferguson of Carlisle, born 1794. And he himself had son Spencer Charles Ferguson, a Justice of the Peace, and Major of the 5th Northumberland Fusiliers, who served in the Nile Campaign, the Boer War, and World War I. Another, we have Azure, a buckle or between 3 boars' heads, erased argent, a border of the 2nd, seamy of trefoil slip vert, crest upon a wreath of the colors, on a thistle proper, passing through a buckle or a be a lighting of the last wing azure. For George Bagot Ferguson, born 1843, a medical doctor, vice president of the British Medical Association, and son of William Ferguson of Belfast in County Antrim, who was the son of Dr. James Fergusson, who was the son of James Fergusson. And George Bagot Ferguson had son Victor Bruce Ferguson, who was born in the year 1875. Here we have argent, a lion, rampant azure on a chief gules, a mullet between a crosslet fitchy and a rose of the field, all within a border of the third. This was the arms of General Sir James Fergusson, born 1787, a British army officer during the Napoleonic Wars, governor of Gibraltar, the son of one Charles Ferguson. Argent, a lion, rampant azure within a border gules, on a chief engrailed of the second, a mullet between two crosses, crosslet fitchy or. For Ferguson of, looks like it just says Isle, Scotland. I wonder if it's, well, I guess I shouldn't. So Robert Ferguson, who died in 1768, son of Alexander, who was an advocate and member of Parliament, who was the son of Alexander, who was the son of John Ferguson, who was alive in the year 1580. And a few where we don't know the shield or the escutcheon, but we do know the crest. Crest on a crescent, a cock proper. For a Ferguson in England. Crest, a hand holding a dagger erect. And crest, a demi-lion holding in the dexter paw a scimitar proper. And if you enjoyed this video, please visit us at coadb.com, where we offer genealogy research services, high-resolution digital JPEGs such as t-shirts, and heraldic merchandise such as t-shirts, posters, mugs, and canvas prints. Like, share, and subscribe. Link in the description. Thank you very much.